Physically, I'm a dream. Emotionally, I'm a mess.
You might want to take a pause before you poke this bear. Hello!
I'm Hunter Harden.
And I'm Papa the Bear, and welcome to the Real Housebears
Podcast. Podcast.
Yeah, you all Jersey today?
Podcast. Podcast. Man,
You're
podcast.
practically a Gorga. Or a Giudice, or whatever.
Any one of them.
Catania, whichever, you're one of them. You are.
You got to get the shoulders.
Yeah.
I want to say, forget about it, but that's like New York.
I mean, it can be Jersey. Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah, podcast.
Podcast.
I can tell there's something new in the air. I can tell there's something new in the air.
It is a new season.
It is a new season. So welcome to the first episode of season 2.
Yes, and we're still not finished with Salt Lake City.
Ryan, yes, we have feel a lot of pressure. I feel the pressure to get a lot of things covered in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. And also I feel a lot of pressure because, with Salt Lake City, we were all newbies. We were getting to know the women as the rest of the world was getting to know the women.
Everything was a fresh slate.
Yes, but with New Jersey, now we have like an institution.
History.
Yeah, it's a full institution. I mean,
I'm a little overwhelmed.
I'm completely overwhelmed.
I'm mostly overwhelmed because I have to memorize everybody's names again. I'm so bad at names, and now I have to memorize. I just got over Lisa and Meredith.
Right? Oh no!
And now it's gonna be. I think I wrote Margaret down as Meredith 3 times in my notes.
I did call Margaret Meredith in my notes several times today.
Okay, thank God it's not just me.
I think I caught it every time, but we'll see when we get.
I didn't. I was like going through. I was like, oh, Margaret.
Yes.
I was like, I was putting down Meredith this whole time.
Yes, it's wild. And then New Jersey just starts off with such a bang. It's like, holy cow.
Well, I'm actually excited to do New Jersey because way before I met you, the very first episode I ever saw of The Real Housewives was that episode where Teresa flips that table, and I had no clue what I was watching. I was like, what is this show? I was like, this is the craziest stuff I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh, it's a housewife show. And I was like, I'll never watch this show ever.
Little did you know what was in store for you.
And now here I am.
Yeah, a Real Housewives. I mean, that's one of the most important moments in like pop culture history in the past few decades. That's, there's not too many people in the United States, I would think, that hasn't seen that table flip somewhere.
I mean, it's in pop culture everywhere. They even did a South Park episode with all of the Teresa and Joe and or her ex-husband at the time.
Yeah.
And she's like flipping the table on my husband, calling prostitution whore.
So yesterday we released the Real Housebears cut of our interview with Heather Gay and Dre with Live Love Lab, and you did talk about what an important moment in history that was, in pop culture history, and your first introduction to the
It's so funny. It's so many different things that I've seen live or for the very first time. Like the very first time I ever saw a boxing match was pay-per-view, and it was when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off.
That's a good first one.
And I was like, whoa. And then I was in Tennessee again, and I was watching NASCAR, and it was when Dale Earnhardt crashed and died.
Oh, no. Maybe not the best one to see then.
No, but I've seen, it's so weird that so many things that I've seen for the first time was always a big history-making moment.
Yes, wow.
But I do want to say something about Teresa.
Yeah?
Teresa walked so Jen Shah can try to keep up.
This looks like some real bullshit right now.
Oh,
Because I forgot how crazy Teresa is.
She is a personality.
She's huge.
Sure.
She is huge. And so I was thinking in my head, because I was like, there's only one type of Jen Shah. But I was like, Teresa
laid the groundwork.
Yeah, she can't I think Jen Shah needs to pick up some more pace to actually
keep up with Teresa.
Yes, because I'm just like, dang.
Well, you know what? Let's not waste any time because we have 2 shows to cover.
And we don't want to take a ton of time.
But before I forget, I want to let everyone know that this week we filmed with the Real Housewives of Reality podcast.
The Real Housewives of Reality Podcast. Was that good?
Yes. You sound like an automated, like Siri or something.
Yeah, totally.
But we had a really great time hanging out with them and getting to know them
So
and
much
laughing
fun.
with them. So we'll both be releasing that on our own platforms. So
It's our very first video-sode.
yeah,
Video mini-sode.
Yeah, so check out the Real Housewives of Reality podcast if you don't already, and you'll see the House Bears cut and the Real Housewives of Reality cut.
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to go ahead and start with Salt Lake City. Because the premiere of New Jersey has so much to get into.
Yeah.
So that might be an easier break to talk about Salt Lake City, take our break, and then dive into New Jersey. How's
Oh,
that?
Bear, I totally agree with that.
Do you totally
Yeah,
agree?
I totally agree with that.
Well, I like that this part 2 starts off with Lisa Rinna texting in, talking about what a fan she is of Salt Lake City.
That's big.
I'm really hoping that it'll work out in our cycle that we get to cover the next season of Beverly Hills.
Me too.
I really hope for
Yeah.
that. And there was a very important foreshadowing moment with Andy talking about all the different cards they have to get through. I thought that was really fun. Have you noticed that the reunions are showing more and more and more behind the scenes? Like,
I don't know if I
like
noticed
in
that.
between cuts.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, for Salt Lake City, for sure, they have so much hidden footage that could have, either stopped a storyline or kept a storyline from continuing. Like, it was Lisa's birthday at that party.
No, I'm
Meredith's
saying
party.
even in the reunion, they're showing stuff like in between filming when they're talking about how many cards there are to get through.
Yes.
Yeah,
Especially when Andy says, "Oh, it's time for lunch," and
Right, yeah.
it doesn't stop; it keeps going.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like Salt Lake City is breaking the fourth wall more and more and more and more.
Okay.
And I think that's a new trend for hopefully a lot of, because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
But you know what? So everyone is so spaced far apart. I'm so used to that now because yesterday when we were watching the end of last year's New Jersey reunion, everybody's sitting right next to each
I mean,
other. It
practically on
seems
each
so
other's
weird.
laps. I know it made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, me too.
That's
So
not
I'm like,
sanitary.
I kind of like this space that all these ladies
I
have.
kinda do too. So the reunion starts off with Mary's package, about her sense of self and her sense of smell, and her package really focuses entirely on her confrontation with Jen Shah.
Yeah.
Meredith's eyes about roll in the back of her head when she's in the bottom left corner when Mary tells Whitney that Meredith's afraid of Jen Shah. I mean, Meredith, you just saw the whites of her eyes.
Yeah.
So over that. So Mary talks, we get into the surgery and Mary talks about her hidradenitis. Hidradenitis, which I did look it up. I did my homework. And to be honest with you, it does look like surgery on your sweat glands really is the best treatment. There is some medical medicine that you can take for it, but the 5 minutes I spent in Google showed me that actually having that surgery is the best form of treatment for that.
Well, she said 70% of her body was boils.
Yeah, did you see Heather Gay's face when she was talking about it? She looked horrified, but then also she's like, how do I market this?
At the same time, she's like, what can I do with this?
Yes, what can Beauty Lab and laser?
Can you just take them out and just get rid of BO altogether?
She's working on it. She's like, we do Botox for sweat glands. What can we do? Can we just rip those out?
Let's do this.
Push the needle in and suck it back out, I guess is what she's looking for. I thought that was hysterical. Now, Mary flat out apologized for the hospital smell comment.
In the first time it was brought up at Meredith's birthday party. I mean, that was a
True.
sincere apology. I
True.
felt she's like,
True,
come
you're
on,
right.
I don't want to hurt you.
True, you are right. She did apologize back then.
It
but
was
she gave
sincere.
another really clear apology here.
But we find out throughout the show, Jen Shah needs more than just the first apology. So
yeah, I mean, Mary says multiple times, she's like, you have to accept my apology. Like, I've given it.
yeah,
You have to accept
what
it
else
now.
am I supposed to do?
Now, how did Andy not know that Jen Shah had not been to the hospital that day?
I know
She has said
found
it
that out.
100 times.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like she even said it on Watch What Happens Live.
I'm not sure, but we do know that we already knew that.
Yeah, we've known that for a long time. She said it on the show, social media, interviews. That's the headline.
That's the headline.
That's the line. I love that.
But Mary does not like Andy. Mary doesn't tolerate Andy's shade.
Andy, really? That's a dig.
And it was such like subtle shade on her, but she's like, "Come on, Andy, no," and Andy's like, "Oh."
I love it. But eventually, Mary gets so tired of the cycle of, listen, I've apologized. Now it's time for you, Jen Shah, to say that you accept my apology instead of continually telling the story of why you didn't accept my apology in the first place.
Yeah.
She's like, there's a lot of cards. I love that. She's like,
come on,
there's
we got
a lot of
cards
there.
to
Can we just move on? But it doesn't move on from, it doesn't move on from Mary because now we have to move to the convenience store situation.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and I totally believe Mary. I believe that she did not mean black people or anybody of color. I do believe she thinks shady people like
Just
men,
like sketchy individuals.
And
in
you know
front
what?
of the
Because you see a
convenience
lot of
store.
movies or you see a lot of instances where there's a lot of youths outside. I used to be one of those youths, like
Were you one of those
smoking outside of 7-Eleven and
How
like
dare
making it
you.
hard for any of the regular people to get through the door.
Oh my God, what did I marry?
I know, I was such a bully.
Well, I don't know. See, I'm really torn because, I mean, we flat out caught Mary in some lies in this reunion. In this episode in particular, she's caught in all kinds of lies. So
yeah.
I want to believe that she didn't say that. But, you know, coming up in just a little bit, Mary clears it all up, being like, listen, I love people of every skin color, no matter how dark or how light you are.
The whole spectrum of color,
Which
yeah.
we'll get to that in a second. But I do feel that she has some insecurity with maybe her own race. I mean, I do understand that, you know, from my, African-American friends, and I think we've even talked about it on this podcast before, that there is racism inside of each individual race. But so I don't know how much I believe. I don't know what to believe. I believe that Mary is damaged.
Do you think she's prejudiced instead of racist?
I think that Mary just has been through some stuff.
I just think she's ultra defensive of everything in her whole life. I just think that she's constantly having to put up a defense for anything that she does.
Well, that's without a doubt. She's been on the defense this entire season, but then again, she's felt under attack this entire season. I don't know. I just feel like I have some compassion for Mary because I feel like she's really been through some stuff, and I really don't feel like she loves herself as much as she likes to pretend like she does. But
I just think she's just really socially awkward. I think it's just an awkwardness for sure.
Well, I mean, when we hear all of these things through this whole entire package about her lack of intimacy with her husband and her, we go through a whole cycle of her talking about skin color. She cleans it up at the end, but we go through a whole cycle where her husband is clearly not white, but she calls him white.
She just blurts out of nowhere that she's not attracted to black guys.
My taste for black guys, I don't have, that's not my taste.
And I'm like, that's not,
Your
we weren't even
husband-
talking about you being you attracted to. I don't know why she said that, but that's the whole awkwardness of Mary. But her husband is very light-skinned.
I don't know. It's hard to put it all together. Again,
Who was she married to before Robert
That's
Sr.?
what I
want to see a
want to find
picture
out. That's
of who
what
he
I want to
is.
find out for sure. But I felt like it was a really poor deflection for Jen to ask for Mary to ask Jen Shah if Sharif was racist. I was like, where did this come from? But Jen Shah's not having it. She's like, oh, I'll pull out some true stuff.
Oh my gosh. And Mary's just like, don't point at me. I'm not your kids aren't here. And I'm just like, God, Mary.
Put your finger down. No, don't. Your kids are not here.
Okay, you know what's funny about Mary in this episode? The first episode, she was like coherent and spot on with everything she was doing, and she was like throwing the attacks on everybody else. This episode, the questions are focused on her, and she's right back to the old Mary, just like
Absolutely.
just vomit of the mouth, just whatever she's saying. It just is so
Because
weird.
she's having to cover up what she's said. You know, like I said, I don't believe she's telling the truth. Well, I mean, we've caught her in this episode multiple times not telling the truth. You didn't tell the truth about a lot of the things with your relationship that you said on the show this season, you know?
Yeah.
So when you are caught in lies, it's really hard to keep your story straight.
And also, is it just me, or does Jen seem kind of like subdued right now? Like she's tranquilized a little
We've got
bit.
Zen Jen so far so much.
I've been waiting for her to just lose it, but she's kind of been laughing things off.
This is damage control.
I'm nervous. I'm so nervous.
This is damage control from this season.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is damage control from this season.
Someone give her some alcohol.
Oh no,
this Zen Jen thing is scaring me. I'm a little paranoid. Like it's the calm before the storm.
It does make me a little bit nervous, but I do. But Mary does acknowledge though that she's like, I have a hard time communicating.
Yeah.
I have a hard time. We're like, tell us something we don't know, sister.
I don't know if Jen is sincere about her apology or if she's just doing the whole tour again. But I think she's kind of got her wits about herself right now. So I feel like she does feel bad for calling Mary a grandpa effer.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny because they're like, you said a lot of stuff about her, like, online, and Jen's like, I did not. And then all of a sudden they just start showing all of these little screenshots of what Jen has said about Mary online.
I know.
And they do that like 3 times in this episode.
Or you are pretty, like, detached from human emotion and cruel.
Because Jen at first doesn't give a true apology. She just gives an explanation.
Yeah.
And then when Andy's like, Mary, do you accept her apology? She's like, I didn't hear one. And so, I mean, but I do believe that Jen Shah is ready to move past that. I do believe that she's, again, Jen Shah has no respect for Mary whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I do think that she's ready to just move past all of this.
Let's get into that whole Meredith and Lisa saying Mary said she was afraid of Jen.
You have been waiting for
I've
this.
been waiting for this
for weeks.
I was so confused. Those tricky Bravo editors, they kept that out on purpose.
Well, it turns out they never said it. But again, I don't know why they haven't confronted her about it before now.
Well, they had the phone conversation. Remember that Lisa's called Mary and was asking about why she said that, remember?
Oh, gotcha.
They did a flashback of like
yeah.
footage that they haven't seen yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Mary was just like, no, that was just my interpretation of what you guys were kind of saying.
I knew that all along, to be honest with you. I was like, and I don't know if I said it to you or I said on the podcast or to whom, but I was like, Mary didn't use those words, or no one used those words. Mary is just kind of summing up their feelings about things. They, because that word "scared" is so triggering, you know.
Oh, jeez. Just cut to Lisa. I'm not scared of her. I'm not scared of you, Jen. I'm not scared of her.
But now Heather still thinks that Lisa is terrified of Jen Shah. Whitney and Heather, bad weather. You guys, that is one of my favorite things that anyone has ever said.
I honestly really love it.
Here we go, weather. Whitney and Heather, bad weather, tornado, spin the truth, destroy. That's what you do.
I can't remember what she says afterwards, like, spin the truth and destroy or something.
Whitney and Heather, bad weather. That is... Thank you, Lisa Barlow. I mean, that's
I
all
liked
I can say.
it. I thought it was really funny.
That is
But
hysterical.
the silence after she said that, and Heather's just like totally mocks her about it.
She's like, that works a lot. I hope that works a lot better than Janisa.
Hopefully that'll take off more than Janisa, because that one has really fallen flat.
He's like, that fell flat.
She's like, that was stupid.
I thought it was really funny. But Whitney and Lisa and Heather are just screaming.
Well, Heather is like saying that Lisa is only friends with Jen Shah and has been a horrible friend to Meredith. Lisa throws it back in her face by saying that Heather talked about Meredith in her confessionals, but Lisa never did, which is kind of, I mean, that's Lisa's evidence, like, oh, I've been a good friend, you haven't been. But they start we're really starting to see fire between these two. I mean, this is multiple times in this reunion that we're coming back from a commercial, and Heather and Lisa are still going at it.
Yeah.
Don't call me an effing liar. Don't call me a bad friend. And then Lisa says that Heather's the liar. So I mean, who's lying about what?
I do like. Did you notice that when they do a cut scene of never before seen footage of Heather and Lisa sitting down and talking, there's the infamous mohair-haired sweater that if you listen to Live Love Blab, you will know all about the mohair
listen
sweater.
to our bonus episode, and then you'll hear about the white sweater that you can see Heather's wearing in this episode.
The white hair incident.
So, Lisa was trying to be clever with the "you need a better therapist than Andy Cohen."
So I said, you need a new therapist other than Andy Cohen.
I'm not a bad therapist.
But it didn't come out well, and it almost sounded offensive.
I know, it almost did, yeah. But Lisa wasn't meaning it that way.
She was trying to be clever, and but like you had to explain that one too much, sister.
And Andy's like, "Hey, I'm a good therapist."
Well, Meredith finally speaks up.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Well, she is not enjoying this reunion.
But what's funny is that when she speaks up finally, she doesn't have anything to say about what anybody's saying. She's just like, anybody that wants to talk about my family, you're not my friend, period. And then she sits back down. I'm just like, good girl, get it.
I mean, it's like that "you don't want to see me angry" moment. I'm like, don't, you're making me nervous.
I know, I don't like it.
So coming back to Mary's marriage, we find out that there are no receipts.
No.
That Mary's grandmother wanted her to take her place. And Mary's grandmother didn't tell Robert Sr. either. Like everything pretty much that we saw on that YouTube video from her cousin, most of it's, I mean, the
sounds
things
very true.
Everything that was covered in this reunion equals the same, is the same story that was told in that. I mean, that interview had a lot more.
So now my theory about this whole Mary situation has just changed just a little bit. I know that she was just wanting to get the inheritance. I know that she was just wanting all these businesses and stuff. She was 20. How old was she when she got married to Robert Sr.?
I don't know.
Well, anyways, she says that Robert Sr. runs all of those businesses. So do you think that Mary got with Robert Sr. because it was easier for him to manage all the work so she could keep getting all of the gifts that apparently Robert Sr. buys everything for her? So I feel like she married Robert Sr. not because the grandma said it was, but because of convenience.
I feel like love with another human being is something hard for Mary. Like, I think she's been through something. We don't know what her crazy life was before the Real Housewives, but I feel like she's damaged goods in the fact that she is happy to have a relationship where I believe there's love now. I do believe there's love, but there's no romance.
No.
There's no passion. It really is convenient.
I feel like it's like a business. It's like a business relationship.
So I really feel like Mary has issues loving herself. I feel like Mary has issues loving other people.
Listen, like money can definitely ruin and change your entire person. And that's why I think the rest of the family doesn't like her.
It's mean.
Yeah,
it's just so messy, and like the more they dig into it, the more I'm like, dang, we were right.
Yeah, it's scary.
And I don't like it. But you know, it is interesting that Robert Sr. was 20 years younger than Rosemary Cosby, but only 18 years older than Mary, which is the same difference between Travis and Whitney.
I like older men.
Yeah.
But you could tell, like, Robert Sr. looks a lot older than what he is.
Right. Yes, true.
So it kind of makes it a lot weirder, but I thought that was interesting that she's closer in age to him than her grandmother was.
True. I didn't even think about it that way. Well, we go through a whole bunch of things, but we don't have all the time in the world to talk about this reunion. So, finishing up, Mary, they talk about her calling her congregation poor, and she does not have a good explanation for
when
that.
she was explaining it, I still was like, I don't know what you still are not doing good. Like,
nothing
I don't
about her
any of
explanation
it.
makes sense at all.
At all.
Nothing at all. Her church is not a cult. Mary says that her church is the same as the Mormon church.
And Lisa blurts out, I'm not part of a cult.
Right. And she says that her personal wealth does not come from the church, but from the several businesses that her grandmother owned. Jen and Mary bury the hatchet, and everyone's done over-explaining themselves. Okay.
This whole Mary situation where she's talking about her marriage and how it's hard. You can't have a marriage for 22 years and it be good.
You can't go through a marriage for 22 years and be happy.
But then, like, she seems so...
Thanks for the hope, Mary.
Yeah, she seems so upset about it, and she's even crying, but then she says... But what me and Robert have is beautiful and it's amazing. But I'm like, you were just kind of bawling about how hard marriage is, and it's a nightmare, and that yours is not great, and you're sleeping in separate beds. I'm just like, Mary, make up your mind. What are you talking about?
Everything that she said contradicted something else that she said. Nothing really.
And that whole crocodile tears thing that she brings out of nowhere is fake as hell.
See, I thought it was genuine.
No,
I thought it was real.
It's the same thing every single time. Whenever she wants to get really emotional or like deflect, she starts bringing on those tears, those like that fake. The same thing she does when she's preaching.
Well, I know, but like, remember the time when she was talking. Remember when she was talking to Robert Sr. and she was feeling left out and her feelings were hurt.
I felt that was genuine.
You know, I feel like here in the reunion, this was just a moment when Mary's like, "Listen, we've been under the gun for a very long time. My husband is a very good man. This marriage is working for us. You guys, I've had enough. Leave us alone." That's kind of how I feel.
Girl, don't get on a TV show. That's going to dissect your life.
Well, true.
I'm
But,
sorry.
you know, we all need a moment to breathe. Then we move into Heather Gay's package. To be honest with you, I thought that Heather Gay's package would probably be the last for, like, in reunion or episode 3. I figured,
really?
yeah, I don't know. I just kind of see her as generally the fan favorite. And, so I just kind of assumed that they would save her for last. I mean, you know, we love all the ladies, but I just assumed that, you know, the way it looks on social media and stuff, that Heather's kind of a fan favorite.
And you can definitely tell that this was therapy for Heather. This show, this experience.
Yeah, we are not seeing this insecure girl from the package anymore.
No, she's found herself, and seeing how strong she is, like, on camera, I think has really provided her with this extra strength.
Wow. So we find out that Heather and Whitney found out they were cousins after they became friends.
Which is scary, because that's how easy it is that you could sleep with your own cousin. Like, you're like, we're cousins.
I love that your mind goes there. Andy encourages Heather to get on the dating apps. Maybe we can help her out with that. So Heather talks about changing from encouraging her daughters to always be chaste to now she wants them to have multiple partners, get wasted, be wild, and live life. And some of the other mothers on the stage were like,
I think when she said multiple partners, all the ladies were thinking, like, the same time?
Right, yeah.
No, that's not what she meant. And, like, have a spectrum of boyfriends and relationships so you could learn what you want in the end.
Yes, don't be so literal about it.
Yes.
Don't be so literal about it.
But when she said multiple partners, I was like, dang, girl, get it.
Sounds like a good time. So Heather admits that she understands why practicing Mormons don't support her, but overall, everyone has helped her to live this transformative experience, especially the marginalized Mormons, the gay Mormons. And Lisa's like, oh, yes, we attract the same people. And Heather's like,
I feel like Lisa keeps trying to give a slight little olive branch to Heather during this time.
I agree.
And I could see Heather snapping it shut away.
I put down a short moment of Lisa trying to connect with Heather, or maybe she was trying to make it about herself.
Okay,
Heather probably just thought she was trying to make it about herself.
To be honest, I hate this whole Heather and Lisa thing. I hate this fighting. I think that it was completely misconstrued. I think that Lisa does need to apologize for what she said about Heather, but I have a very strong feeling that in some seasons to come, Heather and Lisa are going to get alone time together, and they're going to connect on a level, and they're going to end up being best friends.
I love that.
I think that's
because I see so many similarities with both of these ladies. I just feel like stubbornness is kind of keeping them from doing it.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I really want to see them be friends.
I agree.
I hate seeing this fighting. I hate seeing how passionate it is making. It's great TV, but I don't like seeing it because I want them to be friends. I really think that they would be good friends when they meet on that similar level. Like, you know, it's hard to make friends, but if you spend more times with friends, you're going to have an event or something happen that's going to connect you and make you guys see each other on a different level and have history.
Oh, my number one
laugh about.
My number one best friend in the whole entire world. We did not like each other at all when we first met, and now she's my number one friend. So let's talk about all the different issues with Heather and Lisa. First of all, Lisa is the one who recommended Heather for this show.
Yeah.
And says, but Lisa is like, no, I didn't know you. We didn't even meet in person until, 2017, which sounds way before the show to me.
Yeah.
Plus, again, what's the harm in saying, you know what, Heather and I didn't spend like one-on-one time together back in the day, but I certainly knew who she was in college.
Yeah.
I think that's all Heather wants, really. That's all Heather wants.
And Lisa was in the wrong saying, I don't really know her, but I did hear she's like a good time girl and stuff. That was not cool.
Well, I don't know her. I mean, we all know, like, when Mariah Carey, like, I don't know her.
I mean, that's still a meme.
So that's what's happening. That's how it feels. You know, it is rude. And so then the next problem also is that Heather feels like Jen Shah tries to level up with Lisa and Meredith. This is, and then Heather accuses Lisa of leaking stories to the blogs.
Oh, yeah.
It felt very Beverly Hills to me, because they used to do that with Lisa Vanderpump a lot. It must be the Lisas. But
Must be the Lisas.
They cut to a commercial breaks, and it keeps going.
I feel so bad for Andy Cohen because he's probably like, oh, I need to pee. I need to go get a drink or something. But they make, like, the producer's like, no, sit back down. They're still going. He can't, you see, he can't get up. He can't leave.
Yes.
He has to be there. And I was like, you're trapped, Andy.
Right. So Heather is furious at this point because simply, again, Lisa just
and she's completely shut off. She has shut off.
She is seeing red.
Yeah.
I have to say, this is not Heather Gay's best look.
I agree. That's why I'm saying I don't like this.
Yeah, I mean, clearly how much we love Heather Gay, but I did not. She's so angry right now.
And very dismissive.
And yeah, uh-oh.
Very dismissive.
There's your key word, dismissive, dismissive.
Uh-oh. Don't use Lisa's word.
It is a very big key word, but it is like she's kind of giving. I think she's giving Lisa treatment of what she feels. It's just that whole dismissive. Like, no, I don't even care.
It back. I mean, it's not that I don't agree with a lot of what Heather Gay is saying. I certainly agree with a lot of the things she's saying here, but this is really heated, and I just don't feel like it's her best look.
And she does say, she's like, this. It's a you're right. It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
I do this, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like this.
It's me.
If Lisa would just apologize and admit that they were acquaintances, none of this would even be a thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
If she would just say, yeah, we were acquaintances.
They need alone time.
Yeah,
they need alone
do.
time to sit
You're
down
right.
and talk through this.
But here in this moment, Heather is not interested in moving. I mean, she throws Lisa into a full-on tizzy. Like, Lisa cannot handle this anymore.
Lisa flips out and walks off, and she's like, I need to hug John. I need John. I need him here. And I totally agree with that, because when I'm having the worst time, I'm like, I just need my bear.
Can somebody get me John?
Like, I just need him to talk to me. I just need a hug or something.
I get that too.
And like, that's why when she was walking off, and when Lisa was backstage and talking to the producer saying, what? Am I supposed to just abandon somebody that's damaged?
Yes.
I was like, oh, Lisa.
So that's kind of why we understand why Heather says that Lisa has not been a good friend to Meredith, because Jen Shah talked about Meredith's relationship on the show, and Lisa was still such close friends with Jen Shah.
Was still trying to be close friends.
Yeah, so now that made helped me make sense of it.
I wonder if things would have been different if Lisa did not catch Jen Shah in the elevator when they were leaving Vegas.
Ooh. Probably.
Because I don't think they would have called each other to reach out.
I think we're constantly finding out that Lisa is more of a softie than she's giving off.
And I love that. I'm really loving that about her. Like, it's making me, like, when she said, how am I supposed to abandon somebody that's damaged or going through something? I'm just like, Lisa, you do care about people.
Yes.
Like, stop thinking about business all the time.
I feel like that she really does. And, this first season especially, it's been a learning curve for all of the ladies. And Lisa, again, we've talked many times how she does not like to appear vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so I like seeing these vulnerable moments with her, not the circumstances, but I think maybe she would have reached out to Jen Shah even if they didn't.
And you know what? These ladies are all first-year housewives, and this is the first time they're going to be feeling this vulnerable in life.
Yeah. Amen.
That's hard.
I don't know if I've ever seen this much like behind-the-scenes footage in a reunion before. But we end off with, Lisa storming off stage, and she says
is she
she's
coming
not
back?
She says she's. Certainly she is.
She's gonna come
She
back.
says she's not, but she's
so
been
upset.
trying to call the shots this whole entire reunion. She's like, roll footage. We're not moving
No, Andy,
on.
we aren't moving on.
And I'm not coming back. You guys, this is my reunion.
Bad weather.
They can go on without me.
Well, you know what? Whitney needs a shot, and maybe I do too. So why don't we
Yes.
take a break
I could really use a shot right now.
now that we've been through the Salt Lake reunion, and then we'll come back and dive into New Jersey.
Oh my gosh, New Jersey, you guys.
Bye. We'd love to give a shout out to our sponsor, Anchor Podcasts.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free.
There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more.
You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place.
Anchor is where we started with our podcast, and it's been really great for us, and that's how you're able to hear us on all the different streaming platforms.
We love it. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. And welcome back.
Welcome back.
So here we go, y'all. The very first episode of New Jersey, episode 1. This title is called See You Next Tuesday.
I wonder why they came up with that title.
I don't know, but there's a lot of bleeps towards the end of this, and I think that's where it came from.
Maybe so.
I mean, the last part of it, where Teresa's like leaving the house, there's maybe one word, and I think it's and the rest of it is all bleeps. I was like, how do you create a cuss word throughout an entire paragraph?
For sure. Now, a lot of season premieres start off with like a moment showing you the end of the season, and then it starts back and shows you everything throughout the season that gets you there. This time, we get to see 3 days in.
Yeah.
If we're already only starting off with just in 3 days, what is the rest of the season going to be like?
Seriously.
Holy cow. So we start off showing that we are at Margaret's house. Again, in 3 days, and we get some great lines already. We've got Jackie saying, "I'm not a stupid girl, I'm a lawyer."
I'm a lawyer.
Listen, I'm not a stupid girl. I'm a f***ing lawyer.
Which, you know what? If you say you're a lawyer, I'm like, damn, you are really smart.
Right?
I mean, I
buy it.
Totally.
Yes. And then Margaret freaking out in the other room. What am I going to say? What am I going to say?
Having a complete panic attack.
She's saying where there's smoke, there's fire. What are we gonna say? What am I gonna say?
Jackie wants Teresa to admit that she's lying about something.
Teresa's pissed.
I win from Jackie,
ooh.
who
Yeah.
who apparently talked about Teresa's daughter. We don't know what she has said yet,
Not
but
yet.
Teresa says, "You talked about my daughter."
No, you didn't.
Well, that's daughter. That's how Teresa says daughter.
Yeah,
daughter.
it's like if you're learning English, don't learn it from the show.
Maybe not from Mary or Teresa. Okay. Anyway, but if Teresa, I love Teresa's grammar and language that she uses. Sometimes it makes me giggle. But anyway, so now we get to go back to 3 days earlier with Jackie's kids. It's kind of funny, I'm surprised they didn't start off with Teresa, the star of the show,
Yeah.
but they start off with Jackie. And Jackie's son, Hudson, looks exactly like their dad, Evan.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too.
They have the
Yeah.
same face.
Absolutely.
It's Evan's birthday.
Wait a second. Did we even go over their taglines for this season?
No, there were no taglines this episode. Can you believe that?
You know what? You're right. Because when I was watching it, I didn't see them go do the intro throughout the entire episode. It just went straight to Margaret's house.
Yes, unless it comes in later in the episode and we just didn't notice it.
I just didn't remember.
I don't think that they even showed the taglines this first episode. They just
Well, then
got
let's
into it.
Let's do taglines next episode when they do it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. All right, so we are now... So
we're at Jackie's house, and she's a lawyer.
Yes, and and it's Evan's birthday. I think Evan's very handsome. He's got a great body, a handsome face. He does need to trim his beard up a little bit higher underneath his chin. It'll give him I think it'll make his jawline look nicer. A
little bit nicer.
Yeah, but I think he's very handsome and in great shape.
I love it when Jackie starts talking about like having to clean her own house and how if you can see how much I like cleaning toilets because I'm crying the whole time. Seriously? That is like me 100%. Like I'll do it, but I'm gonna make you feel terrible for making me do it.
It's been a crap year. If you watched me crying as I was scrubbing toilets, you'd understand how much I hate cleaning my house.
Yeah, quarantine has had its positives and negatives.
Being with your family is definitely a positive.
It's been for her, yeah. It looks like it's really been her. I like that when they're getting dressed for the evening, they're gonna Jersey Shore.
I like the do the elbow.
I did
do
it.
the shoulders. Do the shoulders.
Yeah, I did.
Jersey Shore it up.
You can't help it.
It's
just part of it.
You know, Jersey Shore it up a little bit.
Yeah. And then switch over to the Gorga home.
Joe Gorga.
So they talk about, Melissa's talking about how Margaret got her boobs done.
Margaret got her boobies done.
Dolores got butt implants.
And Dolores is on her second ass implant.
And Joe's like...
Oh, everything's new on everybody.
But Joe's like, well, what if I get a fake penis?
What is wrong with you women? I mean, what if I got a fake penis?
Ooh, I don't know. How does it work?
I want to see it.
Well, Melissa's just like, how does it work?
I'll take his old one. What is he doing with the old one?
I don't know if they completely removed the old one.
I'll take it. I don't care. I'll take it.
You're so stupid. Switching over to the Aidens, and they're talking about who is Dolores going to bring. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I would rather her bring Frank than David.
I love Frank. I really do love Frank, and I love their friendship together, but it is just not okay.
Oh, I think it's completely okay.
If she's gonna date somebody else, she needs to move on.
You know, after seeing Dolores for several seasons, it just makes sense to me now.
Okay, I do love it. I do really love it. Yes. But if they're trying to have like other lives and stuff, that's gonna make it really hard.
I mean, They're flirtatious and fun. I mean, it's really kind of the best.
I really like it.
She has one boyfriend probably with whom she's intimate. Mm-hmm. And then she's got her other boyfriend / ex-husband
that she gets along with great, and they have fun.
A companion, yeah. So, I mean, you go, Dolores. It sounds like you're winning.
I like it. It's just, I feel bad for David, I guess, in some kind of weird way.
Oh, but Dolores' scars.
Were you looking at my ass when you just did that?
Dude, it looks like you're filleted.
I didn't know that was how they did butt lifts. Like, that scared the hell out of me.
Dolores needs to come to Salt Lake City and go to Beauty Lab and Laser. They have a butt lift, and hopefully it's not as...
They legit fillet her.
Right, seriously.
Like, that is so scary. Ugh.
Switched back to Margaret's house. She hopes that Jennifer doesn't start drama, and I'm like, well, I mean, that's inevitable, but... Oddly, in this first episode, not so much. Mm-mm. But, I'm sure it's early in the season. Jennifer's going to do some drama. But I think that Dolores' new face looks beautiful, especially when she's not wearing makeup. Like when she's not wearing makeup or not much makeup, whatever the situation is here, I think her face looks gorgeous.
I do like it when you see a woman without any makeup on and she still is really beautiful. Yeah. Because sometimes some women,
Shah.
like Jen Shah, but like some people, like when they don't have their makeup on and you're just like, whoa, that is a completely different person than what I'm used to.
And then we have Margaret and Joe doing a Hunter and Papa the Bear when he's like, I stink a little bit, and she's like, you stink a lot of bit.
I stink a little bit. Not so bad.
You stink a lot of it.
Yeah, You're the stinkiest bear I've ever met.
That's what you tell me every day.
He's a stinky bear, stinky bear.
Oh, my Lord. That's my life, folks. Cut to Teresa talking to Gia. Now, Gia, for one thing, is completely uninterested in her mother's pain right now. She's like, yeah, Mom, I've heard it all before.
She's laying down on her side.
She's like, go have some more tequila. I'm so bored. I've heard it all before, Mom. I'm in college having fun. I'm sorry about your miserable life.
Sorry about your dead dad.
But I was
sad.
It was very sad. Definitely very,
because
very
I
sad.
did watch that season where he was a part of the family a lot,
Yes.
and he was sick, and then finding out when he did pass away, that was really sad.
Yeah, Teresa says that she visits his grave every day. So that's, I've been calling my mother every day because I just don't want to have to be in that same place.
I called my mom like 2 days ago. I'm
Now we're showing up to Evan's party. She says, "Oh, I'm so thankful for good weather, but doesn't it end up raining like later on in the episode?"
It does, but luckily they got those awnings. Okay, so when they're introducing all their friends and stuff, one guy's name is Sloan. Isn't that the brand of like faucets and toilets?
It is, but I've actually heard that name for a woman somewhere. And
Sloan.
There was either maybe a TV or a movie character with a woman named Sloan. So this isn't the first time
I don't know.
I've heard that.
I was
name
like,
Sloan.
is he like the Sloan Empire?
I mean, maybe.
Ooh,
Maybe you never
that's
know.
Some toilet money.
If you watched me crying as I was scrubbing toilets,
So I think Jackie's tiny little pink dress is really cute, but there's something wrong with it. Like the proportions, I think really it just needs to lower the waist a little bit, and maybe it won't, because the length is a little bit problematic, but might not be so problematic if the proportion was better. I know. I just kept waiting. I just kept waiting to watch her flash.
Oh, yeah.
The whole entire night.
Flash a little butt cheek.
Or something. So Margaret shows up first. Actually, her breasts show up before she does. They are directing her everywhere she needs. Those fresh new breasts are directing her exactly where.
Those nipples are telling you that it's going to rain soon.
Seriously. Margaret's like, there's a 65% chance it's already raining.
Yeah, it's definitely raining.
Jackie is ecstatic. She's so happy. She's probably already been drinking a little bit. I like that they intentionally talk about their COVID tests. You got to get that out there so people on social media don't freak out. But this is the first party they've had for Evan since they've been married. I'm like, that makes me sad. But Jackie's like, if you have something to celebrate, freaking celebrate it.
I realize when you have something happy to celebrate, celebrate it.
That's the
Amen.
way we were when we got married.
Amen
We're like,
to
there's
that.
so much COVID going around. We're going to get married.
Right? Let's get out of this.
Oh, my gosh.
But let's get into the Gorgas showing up next.
Joe Gorga is just the best dressed man I have ever met.
A white T-shirt. And he does it well. It's such a. I don't know. I think Guido might be politically incorrect.
It's just such a blue collar kind of look.
It's hot. It's a pristine white T-shirt. It fits so perfectly.
Like everybody's getting out and they're in suits and dresses, and he gets out in jeans and a T-shirt. I'm just like, oh, damn, you're so nice.
I know. And then I want to touch his skin.
Oh
I
gosh,
wanna
Joe
touch his
Gorga, I
skin.
got the biggest crush on you.
I do have a bit of a crush myself. Dolores and Frank show up, and I agree that Dolores is quite a catch, Margaret. Margaret says she's the catch of the century. I agree with that. And again, I prefer that she shows up with Frank over
I
David.
like her personality a lot.
I do too. And I'm glad again that Frank's there. I love watching everyone play with Dolores's butt.
How's your ass doing? I miss it so much.
And just talk to me.
That had some jiggle on it.
And the way that Joe Gorga says, it just talked to me.
That is you. That is you. Like,
But it's because
100%.
Dolores was making a move with her butt muscles. It was, I was like, oh my gosh, she's still so scarred. Doesn't her butt still hurt?
I know when they grabbed her butt and shook it, I was like, ow, it's gonna rip off.
Jennifer Aiden shows up and she says she's looking forward to starting fresh with everybody. She and Jackie greet each other very happily.
What's a tenafly girl? She said that we're tenafly girls.
I have no idea. I missed that.
Yeah, it's tenafly, Tenafly. Tenafly girl? Tenafly girl.
I have no idea.
She said that, and I was like, what's a I didn't do my homework.
Maybe we should have had the captions on to make sure that was the actual word she said.
I really think she said Tenafly girl.
Well, why don't you Google Tenafly and see if it's a real word? Oh! Tenafly is a borough in Bergen County, New Jersey.
Okay, it is something. I knew I caught something.
And you spelled it right, too.
What?
Worked. All right, then, Tenafly.
Tenafly, girl. Oh, see, look, it just said it right there.
See, maybe... Okay, captions for now on.
Captions from now on.
Well, I'm glad that we figured that out.
I love Joe Gorga's and Frank's friendship.
Oh my God,
like
they're
it's
so much
slightly gay play, but it's not. It's just two straight guys just messing around with each other, and it makes me laugh so much.
And you know, in Jersey, family is a bigger thing than any of the other cities. Like,
Anything.
You know, Italians and the
blood.
Yeah, it's all about family. So New Jersey is the one city that's almost as much about the men as it is about the women.
I agree.
And thank God I find them very likable men.
Oh my gosh. And when they get together, they are bad news. And
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
so like throughout this entire scene, in the background, you could see that little shit-stirring face of Joe Gorga. Beet red, glazed over, and you know he's got 5 shots in his hand. He's making people do more. That's you. That is you.
Yes.
You do that. Like, Joe Gorga is so much you. It makes me laugh so much. But you could see him in the background getting everybody trashed.
Yeah.
It's so, and he's just got this little
they even
shitty
talk about it
grin.
later. That's why when Margaret's husband Joe is throwing up, they're like, it's because of Joe Gorga.
It's
Joe
so
Gorga,
true.
and Heather Gay, we need to go drinking.
I'll be there.
You
I'll
and
be there.
Dre and Melissa Gorga can hang out on the
Oh my
sidelines and have another party.
gosh. And you get Joe Gorga so trashed.
Well,
I'm not going to molest him. I just want to hang on him a little bit and be like, hey, hang on me.
Get him to loosen up a
Get him
little
to
bit.
yes.
Gotcha.
I want him to be playful with me like he is Frank.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm fair with that. So the ladies addressed the birthday BJ. I don't know if you know this because you haven't watched the other seasons so intently, but it has been kind of a thing, kind of like where Jackie only gives him a BJ on his birthday.
Poor
like
guy.
kind of like Lisa Vanderpump used to say she only had sex with Ken on his birthday.
That's good stuff.
So already here in the very first episode, Margaret is planning a cast trip.
To Lake George.
But I'm like, really? Already in the first episode, we're planning a trip? But Melissa is like, please, yes, in this first episode, can we plan a trip to get me away from my kids and my husband?
Please, anything.
I'll take it. Where are we going? I'll go down the street.
I'll sleep in the trunk. I don't care.
Can we please go to Vegas? It's across the country. Like, no, we can't.
Somebody break my phone, too, so they can't get a hold of me.
So then next, Teresa shows up with her realtor / friend, Michelle, who is selling Teresa's house. And Jackie she's ready to be friendly. I mean, like within moments, she's like, hey, are you seeing anyone yet? We found someone who's half Jewish and half Italian, just like we've finished up last season's reunion. Like literally the last sentence spoken in last season's reunion was Andy saying that we're going to find Teresa a half Jewish, half Italian man.
I do remember that.
Jackie is like, man, it's been a crappy year for everybody, but Teresa's had a crappy decade. I want to do something nice for her.
I thought that was sweet.
You know, what could possibly go wrong?
Cut to Teresa saying, has Evan been doing things? You know, does he do things? First, it's that. First, she says it's things. Do you know if Evan's doing things?
Well, first of all, don't skip over Jackie's toast, where Jackie's like, I want to do this before I get too drunk. And I'm like,
Oh, my
girl,
goodness.
you're already too drunk. And then they make out in front of everybody. I was like, bleh.
Don't ever do that to me. In front of a crowd. I don't like that. And they make out a lot in this scene.
And
but
Joe
get it.
Gorga gets furious that Jackie insinuates that she might give Evan his birthday BJ and then takes it back immediately.
Oh, yeah,
And
Joe loses it.
Listen, don't you take away Joe Gorga's BJs now.
You are such a Joe Gorga. It
Well,
is so
listen,
funny.
don't take him away. And then Teresa gets into Evan's infidelity. And listen, we are only 10 minutes into the episode.
Just so crazy. I mean, and she is only there for 5 minutes before she starts whispering to all these people, and she's like, spreading the rumor while disguising it as a question. Do you know if it's true? And then it cuts to further on where it's, he is sleeping with other people at the gym.
I said last week that sometimes your questions are suggestive. And listen, if you say something like that on camera, you know that you're saying it to the world.
Yes.
You're not saying it to just the people at the table. Not to mention, she wasn't whispering. You can't tell me that everyone at that party didn't hear her when she said it first to Melissa. And Melissa's like, I ain't in this. So then she goes to Margaret. And Margaret's like,
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know about it.
I ain't into this.
She even goes to Joe.
Yeah, and no one wants to hear.
No one wants
to be part of this. And Jennifer Aiden, she's like, Teresa told this to me before, but it had no merit.
At the end of the day, if we don't have any receipts, honey, shut the up.
So why is she going to still do this? I feel it's very vindictive.
Well, I mean, Margaret says, she's like, Teresa, this is not the place. On his birthday, again, on camera. So Teresa's like, okay, fine, I'm not getting anywhere here. Let me go over to Dolores and ask her. I mean, why is she going around to every single person on the cast to try to get them to say, oh, yeah, I've heard that.
And she's like, but I don't know who I heard it from. I'm so bad at remembering things like that. I'm like, that is some bull. That is a straight up lie.
This just made me very uncomfortable because, no one wants to take her bait. It's very uncomfortable. No one knows why Teresa's even. They're like, what is she doing? She has no
receipts, nothing. She heard it from somebody.
But everyone knows that when you say something on camera, it's going to become fodder for viewers. It's going to become fodder for reporters and tabloids. That's the big problem. You can sometimes get over gossip at a party, but not when you're telling gossip at a party in front of millions of viewers.
And there's a lot of people that are his close friends that aren't associated with anybody else, and they're hearing this. That is embarrassing.
Yes.
Like if I was at a party and it was my birthday party and you started hearing people, or even I heard people saying that I'm cheating on you at my birthday party, I would lose my shit.
It would not go well. Well, by the end of the night, though, Jackie is thrilled. She thought it was a great night. Jennifer and Bill get home. I love it when Bill gets drunk. He's so kind of reserved when he's sober, I guess.
Yeah, and then those pictures of him trashed with his shirt open and he's all glazed over and sweaty. First of all, I was like, who's taking this picture at their house of them just trashed in the entry room?
They're 12-year-old.
Take a picture of mommy and daddy trashed.
So now we get into kind of a big the day after.
Wait, hold on. That cake. Was there Twinkies around that entire cake?
No, that was a tiramisu cake. So those were, what, ladyfingers?
Oh, ladyfingers.
Yeah. Oh. No, those were ladyfingers.
I was like, I want that cake. It's got Twinkies all over it. That looks good.
I think that even you hear someone say on camera that it was a tiramisu cake.
Oh, okay. I catch everything else, but
I know we
we
heard the different. I was probably taking notes when you heard about that thing, and then I was vice versa. So Marge Sr. and Marge are practically the same person at this point. They've been seeing the same surgeon for sure. That we finally get to see some of the work that Marge has been doing for years in her home. And you know what, Marge, good on you for taking your time, doing it smart, not putting down tons of money.
Was it Marge's house or Margaret's house?
Margaret, sorry. They're the same person to me, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a second.
Margaret. But good on you for taking your time and getting it done and not wasting your money. And it's turning out to be quite lovely. I don't know. I do love the dark stains and the dark colors. I don't know if all the decor is for me necessarily, but I do appreciate the work.
The textiles.
Yeah.
The colors. She would make Uli very proud.
Yeah. Uli
from Project
Runway reference.
Yeah,
wow.
Uli was so good with all those textiles and colors and mixing them.
You better go.
Uli.
You better go. Uli. Oh my gosh.
I was staring at you because I thought you were going to keep talking, and I was going to rip you a new one if you didn't catch that.
It took me a second, but I was like,
thank you.
Oh my God, that was good. Bravo to you. But not bravo again to them actually showing Joe throwing up.
Please don't show people throwing up. That is disgusting.
Anyone in the world who edits television and movies. No one wants to see anybody else throw up. I can guarantee you, if you ask anyone in the world, well, unless, it could be a fetish for some people, who knows? I'm pretty
Two girls,
sure.
one cup.
Moving on.
Let's move on to Joe naked in his bed.
Yeah.
Because he is trash, and he probably needs a massage.
He does.
Maybe a BJ or something. But yeah, I was like, ooh, I love this show. This show is so good. Show more Joe Gorga naked in his bed.
Listen, you want to see Joe Gorga get upset? Talk about Antonia having a boyfriend. Or Antonia and boys at all.
He doesn't like that at all. He is such an old school Italian.
Yeah, a lot of people have problems with Joe's misogynistic ways.
But he does treat women very respectfully, I think.
A lot of people feel that he doesn't, but...
Oh, yeah.
I guess... I'm sure Melissa knew who she was marrying.
I'm one of those old school girls that likes a man to take care of them.
You are. And so now we get into Margaret telling Marge Sr. how Teresa went around the party, was telling her about Evan.
And Marge's jaw dropped.
Oh,
she's like, what?
Do you think that Teresa is seeking revenge from last season?
That's exactly what I thought it was.
So as much as Jackie is trying so hard to move forward positively, you think Teresa's
I do feel like seeing old seasons, Teresa does not let go of things very easily.
Not at all.
She will
You're right.
say that she accepts the apology, but deep down, she'll get you back.
Yeah, you're
One way
right.
or another, she'll catch you.
You're right. You're absolutely
She'll
right.
catch you outside.
She'll catch you outside. So here's the wild cycle of Dolores. So Dolores helped David design and pay for a home, which David moved in. But Dolores decided to stay in her old home with her ex-husband, Frank, while Dolores' and Frank's son, Frankie, is staying with David at the new home. You go, Dolores.
I mean, that is a new modern family right there, girl.
I think she's kind of like living the best of both worlds, and
It's working.
And I hate to be a little bit rude, but I haven't seen much on camera of David, being present in this experience. Whenever David's on camera, he's really kind of checked out. He doesn't come to any events. And I know that he's, I think, maybe a doctor or something and works hard, but I don't really see, other than maybe he's just really good in bed, and that's what Dolores is getting out of him. Yeah. But I don't see the attraction. I mean, not that he's not attractive. I just don't see the attraction between them.
I just want her and Frank to get together.
I don't know if I even want them to get together except for maybe hook up every now and then.
Yeah, I think they should just be friends with benefits.
She says that they're not. I think that they should.
I would have a hard time,
yeah,
to be honest.
Well, living together, that could make it pretty problematic.
Yeah.
Anyhow, David is not happy that Dolores had surgeries without telling him. And, again, I'm kind of in between because... if you got surgeries without telling me, I would be off the wall livid, but we're married. They're not. But I mean, if you are in a serious enough relationship that you're filming together for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, then I think that you're in a serious enough relationship that you should tell your partner that you're having surgery, even if they're not going to like it.
Because something could happen.
Absolutely.
Something could happen, God forbid. But,
and again, I think he's a doctor, so he really understands.
That. But he says there's nothing wrong. There's nothing to change about you, and I liked that.
Yeah, you're beautiful.
Yeah, why you don't change yourself? And I would feel the same way too, because a lot of plastic surgery will change the way you look, and especially in men. Like, I would be really upset if you got plastic surgery because I'm like, I fell in love with the face you have.
For men, it's really obvious.
It's
when they
so
have,
obvious with
like
men.
Plastic surgery. Sometimes some Botox, maybe a filler or two. It's not that.
Can't they just like tuck that extra skin under your beard?
But like when Kenny Rogers got his facelift,
Mickey Rourke,
Burt Reynolds. I get it. Yeah. It doesn't really work so much for men oftentimes. Now we move over to Jennifer's house, and here's another interesting family situation.
Yeah,
Jennifer's like, Mom and Dad are fighting. I blame Mom. So, Dad, you're moving in whether anybody likes it or not, which he's thrilled.
You think I want to get involved? You think I have nothing else on my plate but to get in the middle of their relationship?
And the son living with them for so long.
Yeah, well, they're a Turkish family. Plus,
they probably have enough room.
Right. But, similar to Italian families. On the Real Housewives of New Jersey, even the Turkish families, these European families, family is everything.
Oh, yeah.
Family is everything. So I love to see that Jennifer's taking care of her dad. I think that's sweet.
I think it's very smart of her to see the damage that's happening. I thought that was really smart of her to see, the situation and actually handle it.
Right. In the past seasons, Jennifer Aiden has not been my favorite.
Yeah.
But I'm going into this season with whole new eyes because, just like we did with Salt Lake City, I want to love all of these women.
Mm-hmm.
I want to praise them and talk about what's great about them and why I enjoy having them on my TV. So I'm really looking forward, actually, to my new relationship with Jennifer Aiden this year.
and Jennifer talks about how her relationship with her mother is strained. But I see this with so many mother-daughters. Mothers are so critical of their daughters.
Yeah.
And their family, so they're not afraid to say what is on their mind.
Right.
Like, I just saw it with all of my sisters and my mom. But it's funny because they want to hang out with each other so much, but they get on each other's nerves.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did you notice in the flashback with Jennifer and her mom, they were either in a Giovanni boutique or
Giovanni was everywhere.
I mean, they were surrounded by Giovanni tags.
Everywhere.
They were feeling Giovanni, and who was in. Do you think that Jennifer's dad looks a little bit like the little old man from Up?
Oh my God! Now I see it.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like he's not as squared off.
I love his accent.
Yes.
It's that really old
Yes.
Italian, or is it Turkish?
He's Turkish.
It's just that thick accent, and you could just see, you could hear the history in his voice. I love
He's
that.
not as completely blockish as the little old man from Up is, but I definitely saw a resemblance.
Oh yeah, I see that now. That's
I
good.
thought that was cute. But everyone just kind of sits there and bashes Jennifer's mom for a while. Like everyone at the table is bashing her the entire time. And then after this scene, we get just a moment with Frankie and Dolores on the phone when Dolores is like, don't overwork yourself. Don't overwork yourself. He's like, Mom, don't tell me that. But did you notice that Dolores was holding dog?
Their dog?
No. You know how normally when we see a housewife pet, it says Sparky,
their name.
Dolores' dog.
Yeah.
This literally just said dog. I wonder if that's the dog's name.
It's not unheard of for people doing that.
Carol Radziwill named all of her cats this Kitty.
Kitty, yeah.
So maybe this dog's name is
You named
Dog.
all your pets Eenie.
Growing up. But I was 7.
I guess it just kind of goes back once you get older. You're just like names, whatever.
Yeah.
You have too many names to memorize. I mean, when I was living with my mom, she had my 4 older sisters' names to memorize and 4 pets. My mom would list off every single one of my sisters, every single one of the pets before she finally got to my name.
I get it.
To yell at me.
Oh, my grandmother did the same.
Oh, it's so bad.
All right, so now we're getting into, what the beginning of this episode was all about. Jackie calls Teresa, and she wastes no time in saying, we need to get together to talk before we go away together.
Oh, yeah, and it's so smart. Well, deep down in my housewives' evil mind, I really want them to do it at vacation at dinner, where they can't run away from each other and their trunk.
I'll be curious to see if Jackie even goes. I haven't been able to tell from the scenes.
You
from
can
next week.
see how broken down Jackie is in her eyes. You can tell she's been upset and crying. And she said, apparently it was her worst day of her life, having to tell her husband what was going on.
Oh, you know what? Evan seems like such a level-headed, kind man, so I bet it's really jarring when he gets rage.
And plus, it's even more hurtful because all of his friends heard this. Not just the housewives
for sure.
stuff.
Absolutely.
It's all of his personal life, people that have known him for a long time. And that's embarrassing if your friend comes up and he's like, hey, that housewife lady's saying that you're cheating on your wife.
Absolutely. So I thought it was smart for them to meet at Margaret's.
It's Switzerland.
Yeah, it's Switzerland for sure. So at Margaret's, Margaret and Lexi, Margaret's creative director, are packing gifts for the ladies for their trip, which, again, I'll be curious to see if everyone ends up going on this
Everyone
trip.
is so nervous about this talk and stuff, but I don't feel Teresa has any bit of nervousness about this talk.
She doesn't. She's like,
She's like, all right, let's do it.
So do you think that she was too intoxicated to realize how much she was talking about people?
No.
Or do you think that she's just generally unbothered?
She had just gotten there. It seemed
I'm talking about, do you feel like the night before when she was talking so much shit, do you feel like that maybe she just doesn't remember?
Well, no, that's what I mean. She had just gotten to that party and then she started talking about it. So it's not like she got trashed and then it came up at the end of the night. It seemed like it was through the entire progression of that night.
Gotcha. Okay. So when they both arrive, I like that Jackie's like, can I please just talk and you listen?
Can I just talk and you listen for a few minutes and then I'll let you talk?
Yes.
And Teresa actually gave her that, which I was like, okay, Teresa. So Jackie tells Teresa, bottom line, you have to admit that what you said was a lie.
There's no receipts. There's no factual things of it. And you honestly, do these people know who I am in my relationship? Like, honestly, Teresa.
But if we've seen Teresa over seasons, she doesn't back down. She doesn't accept a lot of accountability most of the time. I hate to, not going to lie. And Teresa, especially at this moment, is not going to say, yes, I admit that I lied. She's never going to admit that she lied. She could, if Jackie maybe would have said, I need you to admit that this was a rumor that didn't have any substantial evidence. That might have happened. But when she said, Teresa, I need you to tell me that, I need you to admit that it was a lie.
I need you to admit this was a lie.
You know, Teresa picks out words, and we'll get to that in a minute when Gia comes up. But Teresa noticed, you know, it's about semantics.
Semantics.
So Teresa really can hear key words in a conversation and really fixate on those. So for you to say, Teresa, I need you to admit that you lied, no way are you going to
that you have no proof of it. Like, why would you spread this? And it's so hypocritical because Teresa's like, well, wouldn't you want me to tell you if I heard this thing? You didn't even tell her. You went to every person around her at a birthday party for her husband to tell everybody that.
Teresa comes up with 18 different, a bunch of random reasons to justify why she spread the rumor all around the party. She comes up with but did you notice? Meredith Marks has made her mark on the Real Housewives. Because Jackie says that she's not engaging.
I'm not engaging in this.
I'm not engaged.
Okay, listen, Jen.
I heard that. I was like, yes, girl, don't engage.
Don't engage. But again, Teresa's not backing down. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
And Teresa says, well, Jackie, you should be able to defend yourself. I'm like, I thought she was your friend. Why would you make her force her to like but then I realized that they aren't friends because of the past.
Yeah,
and that's when I was like, this is 100% her sticking it to Jackie.
And Teresa's going to defend herself till the end. Again,
100%.
Very few times throughout these 11 seasons has Teresa been humble enough, especially this quickly.
And first she says that she doesn't know she forgets who told her. But now that she's having this talk, she says, oh, well, I do know, but I'm not going to tell you who said that. That is not a friend.
No. And then Jackie's just had enough. She's like, okay, fine. If you are not going to...
Here we go.
Pull back this rumor, take back this rumor. And she... If I can paraphrase, and I'm intentionally paraphrasing, she says along the lines of, what if I said that Gia was doing coke in the bathroom?
At parties.
She didn't say that exactly, and I intentionally paraphrased because Jackie was obviously not suggesting that Gia had been doing coke. She was even like rolling her eyes.
She's like, I heard
it
it from somebody. I don't know.
Yeah, she was clearly not being serious. But now this is a little bit touchy because I know that Teresa has had some strong fans since day one and we're, 100 years in. So let me first say that I understand Teresa getting furious about bringing her daughter's name up. If I was a parent, I wouldn't even know what the rest of the sentence was that you said. You said my daughter's name, and now I'm seeing red.
Paraphernalia. Yeah.
So I get that with Teresa 100%. However, Jackie was not spreading a rumor. She wasn't spreading a rumor at a party for sure in front of a bunch of other people.
She said it straight to her.
One-on-one. Yes, it was.
No one else was around.
Yes, it was on camera. And again, I understand that being on camera saying things on camera can be suggestive and really blow things up.
She was strictly using it as an example for this situation, and that went straight over Teresa's head.
Yeah.
Teresa saw red, started see you next Tuesday.
And again, I'm not mad at Teresa about that. I do believe that Teresa's wrong here, but I'm not mad about her just simply going, you had my daughter's name in your mouth, and that's not okay. And especially on this show, many a season have they said in New Jersey in particular that kids are off limits.
Jackie knows exactly what to say to Teresa to piss her off even more.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could see Teresa's so pissed off that she's almost going to grab something to throw it at her. And she's like, what, are you going to throw something at me? And then she says the words that I think did set Teresa way over the moon. I win.
I'm living the life that you want to live.
What is going on?
I win.
Oh, yeah. She's like, I'm living the life you want to win.
She looked straight at her and is like, I win. And man, I was like, Teresa's going to kill you.
Yeah. But the best part of this scene is Margaret just in the other room freaking out. That's my favorite part of this whole entire scene is Margaret like, oh, Teresa's not backing down. Teresa said whether it's smoke, they're fine. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, it's maybe the best part of the whole entire episode is just Margaret back there freaking out.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I am not surprised that these New Jersey ladies really know how to launch another. We've been through 10 seasons, so this is like another decade, if you will. The start to a whole new decade of seasons. I don't know if that works out right, but they certainly deliver.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Before we sign off, I don't want to end on too much of a sad note, but this week we lost someone really, really important. Ryan Shea was a really good friend of ours, and he was also a writer for Instinct magazine. So Ryan Shea was with us when we got engaged. He covered us. When we got married, he covered us. He's covered us on the podcast. He's the reason why we got contact information for Heather Gay and got to meet Heather Gay. He was the first person we called after we got to meet Heather Gay. And so I just didn't want to go through this and not give credit to Ryan, and he will be missed by so many people. The outpouring on social media has been really touching, but I just didn't want to start off a new season for us that, to be honest with you, was much made possible by Ryan. So, Ryan, you will be missed terribly, and you are loved.
I love you so much, Ryan. Thank you.
Sorry, folks. Didn't want to end up on a bad note. Sorry. But I just really couldn't go through this episode without giving some love to Ryan.
Thank you for doing that, because I was thinking about doing it, but I didn't want to end in a bad note, and I didn't want to cry online.
I know. I didn't want to tell you ahead. I knew I was going to do it, but I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to be anticipating it.
But what is good about this show is that he did help me. He wrote out the emails for me of how to write out emails. He gave me all the contact information of every single housewife that was out there. He really helped us out, and I'm really blessed because right after we went to see Heather Gay, I called Ryan. He was the first person we called, and I got to tell him I loved him, and I thanked him for everything that he has done for me and for being such an amazing friend to me. And then he went into the hospital a couple days later. So I was very blessed that I got to say I loved him and that I thanked him for it. So I got to thank this podcast and all this stuff. So anyways,
So a positive note in celebration of Ryan Shea. And a positive note in celebration of a new season of New Jersey, ending a successful first season for us of The Real Housebears. Thanks to Ryan Shea. So thank you all so much for listening. Check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Housebears. You can find us on Twitter under Real Housebears without the. And you can email us at therealhousebears@gmail.com.
And we are starting to record our podcasts, not just audio, but also visually. So please go to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see some behind the scenes and little clips of us talking in our closet, aka
the sound studio.
So you can find us on YouTube at The Real Housebears. And you can also find us on iTunes and Spotify. Please give
Anchor
us a
FM.
Please give us a rating on there and a 5-star. We really rely on those ratings. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for staying tuned for season 2. This is amazing. I'm so excited. And I hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Let's test it and see if it's working first.
Testing for season 2.
You might need to get a little bit closer.
Testing for season 2.
Test.
New Jersey.